Welcome to round 1143 in Formula 1 history and the 32nd episode of Box Banter. It is great to see you. This is the 17th running of the Singapore Marina Bay circuit, and Liam Lawson impressed precisely nobody during practice, while Charles gets my MVP for his pit lane antics. Qualifying happened and hid no secrets about McLaren's fall-off, as George takes his 7th career pole over championship favourite Max Verstappen, with McLaren's B driver starting out a 3rd. McLaren just don't know B stands for better. Formula 1 tease us with a wet race, but the track's drier than a wheat bit come the green flag. Oscar chooses offense over defense as he fights Max and allows Lando the inside line into turn 1. Lando, please note, Oscar gave you plenty of space to race in turn 1. Lando then has some hard but fair racing as he punts Max and his teammate, nearly leaving Oscar in the fence. He can't keep getting away with this! The favouritism in action, or FIA, and McLaren agree these $1 million machines can be utilised like $200 commies at the local meet. Regardless of Papaya's self-created mess, their bigger concern might be their overall drop in performance as George drives away and Lando cannot pass big bad Max. Lando Norris has taken up the role of strategist as he is allowed to dictate the pit stops for both cars as he did in Monza. This time, car 4 pits first. Lando fans can rest easy though, as the worst pit crew in Formula 1 service Oscar's car, and he ensures they stay well away from Lando as he rejoins 10 seconds away from his championship rival. The race quickly settles harder than the dust on the Papaya rulebook, as for the 2nd year in a row there is no safety car called. We would like to welcome Fernando Alonso as the 3rd wheel on Box Banter, as he hands out achievements mid-race, giving Hadjar the trophy for hero race of the race. Max would put on a defensive masterclass against car 4 while tiptoeing through traffic. McLaren's BD driver closed up the gap to almost 2 seconds as the checkered flag dropped. George Russell claims his 5th career win and 2nd for season 2025. He becomes the 6th different Singapore winner in 6 years as he collects his 8th podium of the year, tying his 2022 personal best. George, out of contract, is like MJ chasing his first Nike contract check, ticking all the boxes. For the 3rd race in a row, Norris has whittled into Oscar's lead, now down to 22 points, while both drivers look unlikely to take another win this season. Am I missing something? Oh yeah, the other news. McLaren wrap up the Constructors title with 6 races to go, matching Red Bull's 2023 efforts, meaning McLaren's 2nd driver is as good as Red Bull's 2nd driver. Make of that what you will. McLaren take back-to-back titles for the first time since 88-89, when a couple of boys named Ayrton and Elaine ran supreme, and such bollocks like Papaya Rules were not implemented, and the World Drivers' Championship was something to be proud of. Lando chimes in on the radio with his own hyper-original slur, simply beautiful. I mean, fucking come on, man. Honestly. McLaren have tainted this season so much, I think I'd prefer to see Maxi Pad come out on top. And by the way, BD means big dick.
Box Bashers, what is cracker lacking? Welcome to another episode of Box Banter. This week on the Singapore Grand Prix. Timmy, big fella.
What's going on, champ?
How are you?
I'm all right.
Are you? I was a bit worried about for my safety. I was a bit worried about your mental health. I did a mental health check on you last night.
I'm okay right now.
You calmed down?
I'm okay right now. Yeah.
Would you pop some Xanax or something? Or
I had a long time to think about it, that whole race, in fact.
yeah.
Long, old, boring race to just soak it all in.
Just stew.
Yeah, soak it all in and take Oscar's approach. No, fuck that. Fuck Oscar's approach.
It's first time we've seen him a little bit fiery. I mean, we've seen
but it's
little
so
bits and pieces of it. Oh, yeah.
And it was, like 100% it was nice in the cockpit having him bark a little.
Stand up for himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The way the... We'll get straight into it. We won't waste any time. We'll just get straight into it. But
no time.
The way that we don't know with F1 media how much of the radio messages they withhold. Like, they only choose to show us what they choose to show us.
They vet it.
So, how much was he ranting on the radio more? Did he just shut it down and was like, I don't really want to talk to my team anymore? Like, we don't know the full context of everything. We only get what we're fed. But it was very nice to see him give McLaren a little bit of a rap for how he feels like they're treating him.
I just wish he wouldn't beat around the bush so much.
Yeah.
He comes across like he wants to bite so hard, but then he's like half. So then he's trying to, I think he's getting the message across, but he's also not doing it with authority, which I think is half the reason they're just like happy to piss all over him.
Well, what worries me most, and we'll get into the all the ins and outs of the incident, but what worries me most is we now have 2 weeks until the next race in the States, COTA. I feel like that's enough time for him to calm down and like not be angry at the team anymore and kind of like, you know, have his perspective shifted, or the team can tell Oscar whatever they need to have him come around to see it their way.
Yeah.
And then come around in 2 weeks' time, you know, when the media starts interviewing him again and we reflect back on this moment, you know, he plays everything very diplomatically and he's always very careful and cautious with what he does say.
Yeah.
But I do fear that, you know, he's going to be like, you know, the team were right, or
he will say that. I mean, I didn't watch all the post-race stuff, but from what I saw, that was the line he was towing 2 hours after the incident. So I think publicly he will for sure, but I think he's got a good enough memory and he knows what point of the season this is.
Well, what you say is one thing. What your face says is a completely different, and I think his face said it all, you know?
Yeah. I reckon he's not that stupid. I think all year or for recently it's been, let's get the constructors wrapped up.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where things lie.
But even still, and
don't get me wrong, I don't trust McLaren one bit.
No.
But I think he will, I don't think he'll just forget. I think he'll go into America. I think the driving standards and the Papaya rules have been reset. I 100% agree with Brundle. Not necessarily from McLaren's point of view.
Yeah.
But from Mark Webber and Oscar Piastri's point of view.
Yeah.
It's
gloves
are off. I mean, let's not forget real quick. Let's not forget the almost collision that Oscar put on him in Austria, and they came over the radio and said, "Well, that's marginal."
Zandvoort
and Hungary, but they didn't talk to him about it.
Yeah.
But in Austria, they came onto the radio and said, "We as a team agree that was marginal. You probably know that was marginal. No risk."
Yeah, back off.
That was a nothing incident.
Yeah,
we saw what Lando did in this race. Way over the line from what they've said all season. So I think that is now, and they let it be, I think that has now reset things for sure. And I think Oscar will know, Mark Webber will know, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. You can't fuck with me every single race.
These coveted papaya rules that everyone's talking about. And I'm getting so fucking sick and tired of the word papaya, but...
I'm getting sick and tired of the word fucking McLaren.
Yeah,
I'm fucking over
or Formula One.
Yeah, literally.
McLaren, they have found a way to make the Drivers' Championship such a frustrating and unenjoyable event.
Literally.
It could potentially go down as one of the most unenjoyable F1 seasons because of how the handling of McLaren with their drivers at fighting for this thing.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm actually rooting for Max Verstappen at this point.
Yeah, I'd say 50% of me is 60% of me is rooting for Piastri, 40% of me is rooting for Verstappen.
I think I've tipped the scales more towards Verstappen now.
You know what it is? It's because he doesn't buy into the bullshit. He's a born and bred racer.
I mean,
and
him
he does
and the Vettels, they wouldn't toe the line like Oscar is. No. And good for Oscar. He paid his dues last season, so this shit wasn't meant to happen. It's happening, and he's like, the thing is he's not. It's hard to say he doesn't deserve it. He does deserve it because he's had the whole fucking team against him the whole season, and he's still got a 22-point lead. So I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. But this whole year just stinks like dog shit. This whole year is tarnished like crazy. I almost don't want him to win it because I don't want to think of Oscar's first championship the way I think of Oscar's first win, which is a fucking non-enjoyable event.
You bring up a good point. They have a way of ruining it for him.
And then obviously I don't want Lando to win it because I don't want to see him at Abu Dhabi standing on the podium and acting like he did this himself without the entire team support. Yeah. And he would have only just scraped across the line. Yeah. So I don't want to see him win naturally. And honestly, I'd prefer to see Max up there than Oscar at this point.
Yeah, 100%.
And Oscar can come back, McLaren can have a good eye, think about it, and go, we shut the bed big time with our rules here. Yeah. They need a big rethink because no matter what happens this year, if they come into next year thinking this is going to be on again, it ain't going to happen.
I don't think it's good for the sport. I don't think it's good from a fan perspective, and I don't think it's fair to the drivers. Either whether you're an Oscar Piastri fan or a Lando Norris fan, they're both being put through quite a lot of bullshit just for the sake of McLaren trying to keep things fair. But then the problem is, let's say they go, all right, boys, the gloves are off, have at it. The problem is, if you don't have that standard from day one, you're already at a disadvantage because you've already conceded X amount of points over the first 18 races.
Yeah.
You know, so it's almost unfair now at this point to be like, all right, there are no rules, anything goes, you know, and let them do whatever they want. When it's been like, okay, well, hang on, but what about all the shit that Piastri had to take at a loss of his own championship just for it to be all like, okay,
Exactly.
we're not doing Papaya Rules at the
Say
end
next weekend, Monza happens in reverse, and then they go, we're not going to do that. And it'd be like, you can't be serious.
But you already have done this.
Yeah, you have done it. You can't now decide it's okay.
Yeah.
When it's an out of the driver
And
situation.
That actually worries me that they're going to do that.
Think about it. Like, it's, man, I am over it. Like,
I think like, look, we love F1 and we've been watching it for quite some time. And there's people that are definitely way more knowledgeable and have, you know, more to do with the sport.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
More to do with the sport with us. But we've seen the sport evolve over the last 10 to 15 years to what it is today. And I think this kind of a championship is just the worst kind of championship you could hope to spend a year watching. Yeah. Even with, someone that we genuinely are resting all our hopes on to see win. Yeah. You know, so we have that extra emotional attachment compared to, someone from another country who is just sitting back and just watching it all unfold. But I think it's doing two things. It's creating bad moments on track and bad racing. But it's also creating a very toxic environment. Like, I know we live in the internet age with social media and everything, but you cannot go on a single photo or forum or thread and it's just full of toxicity now. Yeah. Like, everybody has an opinion based on nothing. They all think they're experts and
they're all just regurgitating what they hear a so-called professional on the coverage saying, when, let's not forget, they've all got their own motivations and biases. And look at the panel this weekend. You got Crofty Brundle, you got Jensen Button there, all Poms. All Poms. Like, of course they're going to want to see Lando come out on top.
It was even interesting to see, like, George Russell was throwing a lot of support behind Lando Norris, and it was like, surprise, surprise. The other Brit driver is throwing his support behind Norris, and what a great race he ran. You know, you do get a little bit tired of it. Yep. So, I think it's all to McLaren's blame, essentially, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Once upon a time...
I don't think it's good for the sport.
It's not. It's not at all.
That's really where I'm angling. Is this good or bad for the sport? I think overall it's bad for the sport.
Yeah. I mean, they talked about 2021. That's once in a 25-year caliber season
minimum.
Yeah, like of that, and that's what we want to see. And you can have Mercedes proved you can have good battles inter-team, and generally that's the best you're going to get because the cars where they develop, like, you're not always going to have cars as equal as Mercedes and Red Bull in 21.
Yeah.
So normally what you're going to get, if a team will let it happen, is two drivers in the one car. And then this season they've just gone and just from race one. Yeah, just poo-pooed it.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you one thing. I'm sick of hearing, oh, this is a Hungary 24 situation. Yeah. Oh, this is a, name race. They act like they're a bunch of lawyers in there with pretense, and it means everything. Like, and I'm so overhearing it. Like, this is that situation. It's like, why does every situation somehow hurt Oscar?
Yeah.
Why is every situation you constantly bring up was the one time Oscar got benefit, and it was an unfair situation to begin with that he got that benefit, like Hungary 24.
Yeah, and then it took away the sheen of his first win, didn't it? It just hampered the whole thing.
And even still, I saw that recently. I saw someone posted on Facebook probably, those laps unfolding, and I forgot just how bad it was. When Lando's like, no, why would I pull over? Yeah. And it's like, bro, are you are you serious? You can't see, you can't even see how these things benefit you. Like, you're just blind to it. You just think everything should be given to you. For what reason? And he's still got that mentality. And that's why things constantly go his way, and he'll get out of the car and own it like he earned it, deserved it. Yeah. When he didn't, but he'll still get out and be like, yeah, I just won a great race. And
it's kind of like in a workplace when someone who gets promoted to a high position just because they've been there for a long time. And it's like, well, but are you the best person for the job?
Yeah.
Did you actually deserve that position? And you got someone else who actually deserves it, and they feel stung now by it because they're like, well, hang on,
how dare I come and do the best job in a short period of time?
Yeah, it's exactly, that's the situation that they've created there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've said all season, prior to the last 5 races, I didn't agree with you that they're sending bias towards Norris. And I was like, nah, like, they love Oscar, they were psyched to bring him on, they've helped him develop to this point. But it's hard to ignore. Like,
I think they love Oscar because they're using him. I think McLaren is obviously a stronger team with Oscar than without Oscar. So they're trying to juggle both drivers. But they want Lando to be the world champion.
It's like they think they owe it to him.
Well, yeah, this all stems back from pre-season when Zach Brown came out and said, we're entering the Lando Norris era.
Yeah.
He wants to save face. He wants to be proven right. He doesn't want to sit there going, well, shit, I didn't see Oscar coming.
There's not going to be... I mean, I'm sure the Brits are going to be stoked if Lando gets it, but there's just not going to be... Look how long... We're still talking about 21 season. We're still talking about that race and that season. As soon as this year's done, no one's going to fucking remember.
Yeah.
And not anything positive anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be... If anything, it's going to be... Remember that season that McLaren just fucked for everyone, fans alike?
Yeah.
That's what this season is going to be. And I hate to say it, even if Oscar wins, which is why I say I don't care if he doesn't at this point, because it's always going to be an asterisk season, even though he had the whole team just completely against him and just sticking up his ass whenever they could.
Yeah.
It's still going to be all year. They had to manipulate results. And yeah, against him for sure. But look where he'd be without the Lando DNF, as an example.
Yeah.
This could be so much worse with how the team have fucking played this out since then.
Well, let's just go back for a second to the Papaya Rules. No one actually knows what they are, but the one thing that keeps coming up, and we've heard the drivers say, is don't crash into each other. That's the number one rule. Now, so far as my memory isn't the greatest of the best of times, but so far, from what I can remember, Oscar has not crashed into Norris once. And any time he has gotten even remotely close, they've
called it off.
Yeah,
called off the dog.
Basically told him to back off. And that started right from Australia at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Norris has now hit Piastri twice. He hit him in Canada, and he's hit him here.
And
Now, I don't have a problem with the move. I'm going to call it the Singapore shunt. I do not have a problem with the move. What I have a problem with is the double standards that they're being held to, because there is a gap there. He went for it.
Yeah.
He hit the back of Verstappen. So you could call it clumsy racecraft. You could call it a little bit overly ambitious. And he's broken the one rule that both drivers had an understanding of you do not hit each other. Now, there's multiple instances where Oscar has made a very aggressive move on Norris.
Yep.
But not once has he hit him.
He's never touched him.
I mean, you can go back to last year to Monza when he had that superb outside overtake.
That came up in the race.
Did it? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And clean.
Exactly. That was the thing. Because Crofty said, I think it was Crofty who said, oh, was that not like the move Oscar put on him last year?
Of course it was Crofty.
And Brundle was like, yeah, but they didn't touch.
Yeah.
Did they?
Good.
That is the difference right here. Anyone can make a good move if you shove it up the fucking inside and bang wheel to wheel and push the other car out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
But there's a reason not only McLaren have rules of engagement, but FIA have rules of engagement.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, if Oscar hits the wall, they have to penalise Lando, don't they? It's his fault. Well, Oscar just bailed out of it and managed to avoid the wall.
He's very lucky that it didn't end up like that, because he only conceded 3 points. I would call that still a win for Oscar.
I'm sick of this being the narrative now, though. He's survived another race.
Since the mid-season, 100%. Yeah. But it could have been so much worse. We could have been sitting here in a position where he did go into the wall, he scores no points, and then Lando scores a bag of points in a way that feels very unjust. Again, the racing and the move, I don't really have an issue with. But as long as both drivers are on the same page that is okay and that is allowed, then I don't see how it's fair.
Well, this is where we differ with opinion, because I have a problem with the move. So turn one, Oscar, and we've seen all year, if Oscar's behind Lando, all Lando cares about is defending Oscar.
Yeah.
He will choose defense to Oscar than offense to the cars ahead.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You're allowed to do that. Oscar chose offense. He took the risk to not defend Lando, which he probably in hindsight should have done. He decided to try and attack Max around the outside.
Yeah.
Sees, that was probably a mistake. Lando's on his inside, gave him all the room. Plenty of room. Didn't squeeze him, didn't do anything silly. Why didn't he get that same courtesy 2 corners later.
Yeah.
He gave Lando heaps of room on the inside. Like, Lando went half a car wide to make contact. There was plenty of room, not even nearly squeezed. Gave him plenty of room. He went in there way too hot and just completely crashed into the car in front, which is, you don't see Formula 1 drivers doing that. These guys are meant to be at the pinnacle of reactions.
It's a sport of precision.
Exactly. Precision, reactions, all this stuff. You don't see cars just simply crashing into the back of another car. No. Without a lockup or anything, Like, he just crashed in the back of him. And then that forced him into Oscar, who gave him all the room to be there. That's what I think is unfair. It's like, how can you say, he jumped out of the car and said it was he said it was a hard racing and fair racing. Yeah. It's not fair racing when you displace another car. And then how can they say, oh, it's okay, it only happened because he had to avoid Max? Yeah. He had to avoid Max because he ran up his ass. What did Max do? Max didn't brake exceptionally hard to go, And if he did, he should have the reaction time as a Formula 1 driver to avoid this. This is why I don't think the move... Yes, the gap was there. Yes, he opened that door. But it doesn't mean you can just fucking push someone out of the way for it. That's the thing. Yeah. That's what I have a problem with.
Well, it's interesting that even like the FIA, looked at it and didn't issue any kind of penalties or whatever.
Of course.
Because it was on teammate v teammate. But it's interesting how they're usually so harsh against contact. Yeah. There should never be contact between Formula 1 cars.
To 2 cars.
Yeah. And nothing. They're just like, fair game.
Yeah, exactly. And they say, opening lap, they're a little bit more lenient.
Yeah.
But it's like the other incidents we saw at Turn 1, 3 cars kind of coming in together and the middle car gets squeezed. That's because the outside car doesn't know there's a car all the way there. Yeah. Just like this car doesn't know there's a... So accidents like that happen. Lando just crashed into the back of another car that he could see clearly. Yeah. Which then pushed him into another car, which he could see clearly. He put himself into that gap that was there. Yeah. But he overran it and caused that incident. This is why I don't understand why this was allowed. Like I said, if he spins Max and then punts Oscar into the wall, you can't say that's not an incident. So just because these 2 cars dealt with it, lived with it to play on, why is that not a penalty? Yeah. And again, we'll go back to Silverstone. What did Oscar cause by braking too hard? Yeah. No one crashed. Nothing was dangerous. 10-second penalty.
One of the harshest penalties dealt out of the season too. Out of all the penalties that we've seen, that's been one of the harshest. Out of all the little
most of the tangles end up in a 5-second penalty again, or 10 maybe, but for an actual incident.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on before we get into the categories. Now, I was going to just mention about the Constructors Championship being wrapped up.
Why? No one's talked about this since round 2.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think, are you at all hyped that McLaren has achieved this and gone back to back?
No. I said this a couple of rounds ago. McLaren used to be a team I supported. My team. I would have called it my team. This whole new era of McLaren, I'm just not about it. I would be stoked if Oscar left him. To be honest. I'm so off McLaren. I'm so off the way they go racing. I'm so off seeing fucking Zach Brown sitting there dictating. I'm so sick of seeing them, the double high five thing every time they do something good. Like, I'm sick of every aspect of this team. So I couldn't care that they went back to back. I don't care. I don't want to see them celebrate. I don't want. I couldn't care. I mean, they've got the strongest driver pairing on the grid. Yeah, they've had the best car for up until the last sort of 2 weeks, so they deserve it. But they also have no competition because every other team that has a decent car is a 1-car team.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Like, this season is a little bit hard to actually judge, and it's interesting to see since the mid-season break, they've actually not really been the dominant car that we've seen at the beginning of the season. Nope. We've seen Max have their ticket 3 races in a row now, and then Russell pips him 2 in Singapore. So
this is going to be their longest... longest winless streak 3 in a row now
in the season.
This season, yeah.
So that's a perfect example. Like, Max is strapping Red Bull to his back, and he's keeping him in the fight there. Yep. They're 4th. And then Ferrari haven't had a win all season.
They've just been
they've been pretty dismal. Yeah. And it's funny you think of the talent in Ferrari.
Yeah. That's what shows you why the car's nowhere.
Yeah.
We know what those 2 can do.
They definitely are in a much sadder position. And then you think about Mercedes. They've got a rookie driver a
who's
rookie
had
driver.
Absolute fall off for
Well,
half the
it's
season
been up
at
and
least.
down. Yeah. And then you've had George, who, he's stepped into that leadership role and he's looking pretty solid.
He's done pretty unreal.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really considered him a legitimate world championship contending driver.
He's been
probably
ultra
until this
consistent.
season.
Yeah.
This season, now you go, all right, he might have the skill, the maturity, the experience to actually fight for a championship from here on out. So,
he stepped up this year.
McLaren, there is a sense that McLaren are a little bit lucky just the way that the chips have fallen.
Yeah.
They don't really have any competition this
I
year.
mean, if Hamilton was still at Mercedes, whatever Kimi Antonelli's got, you probably double that.
Yeah.
And like points accumulation. So you're looking at least a closer battle. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, especially with the end of the season coming and McLaren clearly slowing up a little bit. You would have kept them on their toes a bit more. But yeah, they haven't had the team to team wise. They haven't had the competition.
No,
this year.
Okay, let's get into the categories. The meat and bones of the show.
Potatoes and vegetables.
Yeah.
Fish and chips, whatever you want.
Yeah, fish and chips.
Getting hungry.
Yeah. So we'll start with the final boss of Singapore. Now, I've awarded this to George Russell.
Oh, same.
For obvious reasons. Yep.
Jorge Russell.
Yep. So everybody was talking about McLaren and Max all week, all lead up. McLaren and Max.
Us as well. Yep.
Us included. Yeah, 100%. George just sweeps in and he pretty much dominates the whole weekend. He has that one moment in practice where he puts it into the barriers. Yeah. But since then, he didn't really put a foot wrong. He set 2 pole laps, essentially. 2 laps that were pole worthy.
And everyone was slower on their second lap, strangely enough. And he went out and went 7/100ths quicker.
Yeah, impressive.
He went a bit quicker.
Singapore definitely appears to be one of the most difficult tracks on the calendar. So I think if you can win in Singapore, I think that proves that you have some cojones. So
he's had troubles in the past there.
He's had troubles in the past, yep. But again, this kind of shifts the whole narrative to maybe he's actually ready to be a world champion and fight for one.
That contract bait, it's got him. It's got him by his nuts.
Yeah. And then he leads basically the whole Grand Prix, aside from the the pit strategy stuff. But
he controlled the race, is what he did.
Yeah. He set out 10 seconds down the road and just looked like he was always going to win it. So that's his 5th career win, 2nd of the season, and that's his 8th podium this season. That's pretty impressive when you've got
speed run.
Yeah, boy, that's pretty impressive when you've got Max Verstappen and the 2 McLarens there, that you've still managed to collect 8 of the 18 rounds that we've done now.
I know we had a good run at the start of podiums, but outside of that, I'm shocked he had 8.
Anything you want to add to George Russell being final boss?
No, he just killed it, honestly.
I will say it's kind of hilarious that both him and Mercedes were sort of saying, we don't know how we did this. They get the pole, they get the win, and then just after they're like, yeah, we don't know what we did. We just turned up and
we just piss excellence. We just rock up and have the speed.
It's not even that. It was just like, yeah, we need to look at why we won because we don't know how we won.
How can we implement this to every round?
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what he was saying. We need to understand.
Toto,
what happened.
Was that from Toto? Or?
That was from mostly George.
Because Toto didn't look happy that whole race. Every time they cut to Toto, he's even shaking his head.
Like, shit, I have to pay him.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying to hold out for Max, and this guy is not making it easy.
He's like, damn it, we had that driver contract where the driver has the option if he wins 2 races.
Fuck. This guy wants 3 years. I'm going to have to fucking give him the 3 years now.
How dumb do we look if we don't sign him and just let him go?
Yeah.
After a season like this.
Legit. Well, again, we don't know reasons, but when Mercedes were doing their post-race celebration and photos with the trophies, Toto wasn't there. He had already left. So
busy man.
Yeah, I mean, sure, busy, but
maybe
you're not there. You're not there for your team and your driver's victory at Singapore. A very, very difficult win.
Maybe he drank too much of the local water.
Yeah. Okay. Who was your noob of Singapore?
The Box Bash is going to love this. Liam Lawson.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
I don't think it needs much explanation.
Yep.
The boy crashed twice
in
practice. And that P3 crash, I thought he was gone for qualifying.
Yep.
So, props to the team. Because there's not... Often, if you see a driver crashing in FP3, it's always like 50-50 if they're going to get the car repaired. And that was a whopper straight into the concrete wall. I thought for sure gearbox gone. I don't know what they had to replace. Maybe it still was. But
you're talking about the second crash?
The second crash, yeah. I mean, crash in FP1, FP2, it's fine.
Yeah.
But FP3, you really don't want to be putting it into the wall in FP3. But he did.
Yeah.
He did a good job of it. And he absolutely destroyed his car. So props to the team for getting him out for quali. But yeah, he learns very slow, I suppose. two rippers.
Look, if nothing, he's proving us right.
Yeah.
So
and then he
I'll
wraps
take that.
15th. You know, his team got a point.
Yeah.
Again, and he couldn't do much but 15th.
All right. So I have awarded Liam Lawson the Your Trash Bro achievement. So I kind of went even harder. Like definitely noobish, but I put him in that category. So for noob, I had Lewis Hamilton. So
What did you do wrong?
Well, I mean, I guess both of them aren't, positive achievements. So, you can switch them out or whatever.
Tell me what you did wrong, because I'm confused. What you did wrong?
No podium in 18 starts, a Ferrari record.
But doesn't have much to do with Singapore.
Well,
and he's also been handed probably one of...
It's just a continuation of the lack of form.
Yeah, but, well, the thing is, I'm surprised, that's pretty good, I guess, because Charles has picked up some podiums this year. So the car's been there or thereabouts. But besides those outlying...
And he is a 7-time world champion.
Whoa. I don't like them defending Hamilton here. I just really want to give Lawson the noob. Yeah. We spoke mid-season. He's actually been right on Charles's tail most of the year. For whatever reason, he's just not been able to step up to that podium. When we saw this race, last race...
Well, he
would have finished one place behind him.
We out-qualified him this race, first time.
And he would have finished ahead, and probably 2 spots ahead, if he didn't have his brakes give up on him.
Yeah.
And then we saw last race, he obviously tried to give the spot back, and he didn't quite nail it. But so he would have finished again right there with Charles. So for the most part, and this has been the thread of the season, they've been like 5th, 6th, 7th, the two of them. They've been together.
Well,
so besides the outliers, I don't think this race is any different from the rest of his season.
Yeah.
And he was having a
If you're
good
using
race.
that logic towards Hamilton, to be fair, I could use that logic towards Lawson.
Why has he had a good season?
Well, he's had... No. What I'm saying is you're saying that he's a noob. What I'm saying for Singapore, I'm saying he's always been the noob of
but
F1.
We're looking at Singapore, who crashed twice.
Yeah.
Who failed to finish in points when their teammate got in the points besides Yuki?
Well, I'm more than happy to award Liam Lawson a noob because it is deserving.
Give it to me.
Like I said, I just felt like your trash, bro, was
I got someone else in your
harsher.
trash, bro, so I don't think you're going to see Lewis Hamilton.
All right. Okay, all right. Lewis gets a lucky escape this weekend.
I don't think he did that bad. He was just on par with where that car's been.
I don't think he did that bad either.
That record is, I don't even know how you talk him out of that, because you go, he has been given clearly a Ferrari on a downward trend. But I'm surprised that he's got that record, to be honest.
It's not a record that you really want to have.
How has no one else done that? I mean, Ferrari have had lulls in the past and not great drivers in the past.
So that's what I mean. Is it just a case of just how tight the field is this era that
I think Chris should fact check that. That's crazy.
Hey, straight from F1.com.
Really?
Yep.
I just thought you hit the AI.
I've learned my lesson. You can't rely on AI for shit.
You can't. That's why
it'll just throw you. Whatever you want to hear, it'll throw you.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Nice.
All right, we'll give it to Liam Lawson. I'm more than happy to call Liam Lawson the noob of Singapore. Yep. So
you can short that, post it up, and let's get the Kiwis on his defense. See what they can do.
I was going to say, just get your fists up. They're going to come for you.
Yep.
All right. So who got the biggest buff of the weekend?
So I'll give it to Mercedes. And specific, I kind of wanted to give it to Antonelli, but he came 5th. But his steering was crook as.
Yeah.
And not a real race car driver, but I could just imagine that is hard work, because all of a sudden your left turns are a lot harder.
Yeah.
And your right turns,
they're longer.
Yep. And your right turns are almost
shorter.
Well, not necessarily, but your car's almost it'll be twitchier turning right, because you're already at that angle when you want to start turning right. So the car would almost feel twitchier and uneasy turning right, and then left you'd almost feel understeery because you're going so much further to get it around.
Well, it clearly worked for him, so maybe Mercedes should implement that every race till the end.
And even sending it. I mean, we saw they were doing work on that car, pretty heavy work before the race.
Yeah.
And they obviously knew something was buggered, and they were just like, oh well, go for it.
They kept tight-lipped about it.
And he ended up, obviously the buff goes to the team for how well Russell's done, and even Antonelli on this continuation of his bounce back. But even with a car that looked like that, done real good.
All right, well, I happen to agree with you. I gave the buffed award to Mercedes as well.
I thought I really was going to have to
fight for
convince you on that one.
No, like, look, looking at up and down that grid, Mercedes were definitely the most impressive team. So George P1, Antonelli P4, 36 points ahead of Ferrari now, and firmly in second. So if they can just, I guess you'd probably put the pressure on Antonelli. If he could just stay in the points and stay consistent, Mercedes wrap up that second place, which is a win for them because they weren't second last year. They were probably.
And we've just spoken how much better they could have been with Hamilton, but it didn't matter in the end.
Yeah.
If they end up coming second, that's all they could hope for this year. Anyway.
Very interesting. I mean, there is an argument to say that if you've driven one type of car for all of your career, or a huge chunk of your career, making that shift to a new car, and we've seen that probably with Daniel Ricciardo was probably one of the biggest names that we saw struggle with it. That would be difficult. It'd be hard to unlearn everything that you kind of got used to and have to relearn a whole new, system.
I mean, even the way the team...
Then you do look at a rookie who's never been in F1, and I know he's been exposed, I guess, as being the driver who's put the most hours in an F1 car, with all his preseason practice and stuff. What's the more difficult one of the two? I don't know, but it's very impressive that Antonelli has stepped into that car and helped deliver a second place.
Yeah,
with George.
Clearly suits him, or him and Russell have a similar driving style. But you always hear about the second Red Bull's problem is the car's adapted to Max, and he likes a car that is oversteery and that's quick if you can handle it, and he can wrangle that beast. But I think that's like Hamilton switching cars. That car's been designed for him, minimum, at least since Rosberg left. Yeah. So that's at least 7 years of he was the focal point, and he was probably the focal point from when he went there in 2013. But the car, everything about the car, what do you want, design-wise, feedback, he was the man.
I'll actually go a step further on my point and say that, was it Bono? He obviously chose to stay with Mercedes and not make that shift to Ferrari with Lewis.
Smart move.
Smart guy. It's worked out for him. Like you say, that paid off. And how much of his experience and knowledge has that been helping Kimi? But the other person that's in the wing that they have, a driver who's far too good to be on the bench, Valtteri Bottas. And I heard that he took Antonelli for a ride around the track and basically just walked him through everything that you need to know about Singapore. What other driver in the grid right now has that sort of insight from a Grand Prix winning, multiple Grand Prix winning driver?
I mean, it's even like Ricciardo was the Red Bull reserve driver, but what's he going to be given Max lessons or Sergio lessons? So again, it's rare you have such an experienced driver as your third driver, but then to combine that with a rookie, because normally you'd have the rookie on the sidelines and the experienced driver in the seat. So they got a nice switcheroo, which allows that learning that
I think
Kimi's been getting.
He's very lucky that he has that experience in Valtteri that he can kind of lean on. I think next year will be even more interesting when they no longer have that. He no longer has that person he can lean on who can be like, hey, try this. This is where you made a mistake. This is what you do.
He's got the learning under his belt, which will be that'll
help. That'll propel him for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably like maybe he was a big ticket into why he's able to settle down in these last two races and just start getting points back on the board and finishing races. You know?
Okay. Who got nerfed this weekend?
So I'm giving it to Williams. For getting disqualified.
For getting DQ'd.
In quali. For over limit on their adjustment of the uppermost top element.
Kind of a self-nerfing.
And then obviously, I think Sainz came back to get a point. So maybe, or a point or two. Just off a killer strat.
He came 10th, he came from last to 10th.
Took the brave strat of running.
They
were giving props to Lawson or someone for doing 49 laps on his mediums, but Sainz went longer, and they never mentioned that.
I think he did 50. I think he clocked 50 or thereabouts.
He went a little bit over. And then he ended up working his way back into the points, which, on a street track like that and a Williams and starting last, no one had him on the cards for points. Nerfed for getting DQ'd. You don't see it much these days, teams stuffing it up like that.
No.
I mean, just straight up going over the adjustment limit on the rear wing on both cars. Like, how do you stuff that up?
Well, I've got Sainz somewhere else. I don't have Williams. So for nerfed, I gave this one to Oscar Piastri. So it felt the most fitting. Now, we don't need to hash it out again. We kind of know what happened. But I will use this to just highlight the fact that McLaren celebrated their World Constructor Championship without their championship leader with them.
Yep.
That speaks volumes. Like that, whether he had media obligations or what, in no world should there ever be a team manager or whatever that conducts or commences the celebrations without waiting for your second driver, especially when he's leading the championship for you.
Well, here's the thing. Like, no doubt Liberty Media or the broadcast rights holders said, we want this to happen. But all it takes is them to go, okay, but you'd have to wait for Oscar to be here.
Yeah.
Or you have to give us special dispensation to get him out of the media pen. He'll go back later when Lando's back there. But he needs to be up here with the team or we're not doing it.
Well, how many times do we see, and this race included, a driver not in the post-race interview because he's late?
Yeah.
And Lando, again, didn't even win the race, but he was late and they just said, he'll be joining us later. They started it without him,
like
whatever.
That is all it would have taken. And I betcha no one would have told Oscar, oh, heads up, you unfortunately going to miss this. He would have walked into that media pen and been like, okay.
Yeah.
And I can imagine, thinking of him, if I was in his shoes, I would have loved it. I would have been like, fuck you guys. Like, this is great. I wouldn't have been sad to miss it at all. I would have been like, screw all of you.
It makes them look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and then you see, and, I didn't watch it, but I saw images and whatnot, and I saw Zach Brown. He's staring in the camera and he's loving it, and everyone's loving it. It's like, how can you celebrate under these circumstances like this?
I think, nerf maybe is a little bit of an odd category, but I think McLaren are intentionally nerfing Oscar, and I think that even extends to his pit stop. Because I don't know if you've seen any actual up-close footage of the pit stop, but I certainly haven't. I haven't seen any actual close-up footage of how that pit stop unraveled.
Yeah. I mean, they showed the T-cam, but of course it was a rear tyre when we saw it live.
So they've intentionally withheld a lot of that footage.
Well, I bet you it's going to be... Because I still think Monza was on purpose.
Yeah.
And all it was a wheel wouldn't come off. Oh, sorry, it wouldn't go... They just didn't tighten it back up.
Yeah.
That's how easy they can manipulate these pit stops. Is, oh, no, the gun won't disengage. It won't... They take the wheel nut off.
Yeah.
Or it won't put it back on.
The wheel got caught.
Yeah. Well, that's probably harder to fake. But it's simple as that Monza one. Yep, I did it. Oh, hang on, I didn't actually do it. Hang on, let me get it. And no one bats an eye and goes, that was weird. Like, you're a pro. You know
bro,
what...
your light's red.
We know...
Oh, yeah, shit.
I was going to say, you can feel when it talks up.
Yeah.
But they even have a lighting... that's what I mean. It was probably that easy. And we saw he came out 10 seconds behind. He was 2 seconds behind at the end of the race. So look how different the race would have been with one lap fresher tyres, which probably makes minimal difference, but something.
Yeah.
And only 4 seconds behind to start off with.
Exactly. So this is where I'm going to hone in my point now. So Oscar claps back on the radio at McLaren. This is unfair. I don't think this should have happened. He then comes in, and I texted you. I don't know if you remember. I said, you watch. Oscar will get a slow stop now.
Yeah.
What happens? He comes in the pit stop, almost a 6-second stop. How convenient. Norris gets a 1.9.
Yeah.
2.1
or something.
Yeah.
Oscar, an absolute ripper.
They made sure that he was not going to be a threat to Lando at all, and he was going to be well out of the fight, right? So that's one nerfing right there. But then you think about that World Championship celebration that Oscar wasn't a part of. I don't know if you saw the footage, but when he's in the car, Zach Brown is thanking Oscar and he disconnects his radio.
Pulls the mic out. Yeah.
So where I'm going with this is this McLaren punishing Oscar for going against the team publicly over the radio in 2 occasions. The first time, not keeping it off air and then basically going, all right, well, we're going to penalize you in the pits. And then you're not being a part of the podium celebrations because
I don't think it goes that deep.
Zach Brown was trying to thank you and be all, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
It does put Zach Brown on the bitch a little bit.
Yeah.
Like his driver just straight up defiantly, like, I don't want to hear your bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't think it goes that deep though. I reckon that they were told we want to celebrate because they knew what all McLaren had to do was one car on the podium, confirms it.
Yeah.
All race, that's what they say. Oh, it's Longdale's on the podium, so they're going to win it. So I reckon straight away they were like, all you need to do, if you're on the podium, we want the whole team to come up there. It would have been pre-orchestrated, but I don't think they intentionally did it. But I think if they wanted, if they actually cared,
Yeah.
they could have had Oscar on there.
Either way, it's not a good look.
It's not. And I actually like it. I reckon if anything's going to wake up, Mark Webber,
Yeah.
he needs to wake up too.
Yeah.
And Oscar, it's shit like this. Like, why play like a team member? Why get told you're doing a great thing for the team, but then you don't get to be involved with the team?
Yeah, that's one part of it. And I think as well, I forgot to sort of mention at the beginning there, I think Oscar can only blame himself if he doesn't now start fighting for himself and start being a bit more selfish and ruthless.
Yeah.
All the cards have been put on the table by now.
Yep.
And he has not benefited once from any of these calls.
No.
So surely now, because he's always played the diplomatic role, even in Monza, he fiercely defended the decision in Monza, right?
Yep.
Where we're
But then
all like,
gave up.
dude, are your eyes painted on? Like, did you not, like, are you seeing the same shit that we're seeing?
Yep.
And there was a bit of concern of like, wow, has he drunk the Kool-Aid? But I think now, surely he can't defend the team's actions. And whether he does that publicly or not, that's one thing. I get you got to be careful of your public image. But I think on the track now, he has to nut up and he has to just be ruthless.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
suffer the consequences later if there are to be consequences.
He does have to be slightly careful because I'm on the bias train now. I think you're right. I think they are doing what they can to make Lando win this thing.
Yeah.
And they get to the point in the season, they've wrapped up the constructors. If Oscar goes too far off the rails, he would have something in his contract about not talking against the team.
Oh, 100%.
And if he goes too crazy, they could be like, all right, we're sitting you down. We're suspending you for a race or two. Get someone else in the car.
Which I think
that'll just destroy his championship. They'll get what they want with Lando and getting the win.
Well,
and it could be that easy.
Cool, calm and collected. Like typically, at least in the media, right? In the cockpit when he's by himself or in the heat of the moment, maybe he can get a little fiery. But that could be exactly why. There could be things in the contract where it's like you don't talk against the team, you don't, publicize certain things. So he's got to be very careful.
Alain Prost was completely sacked from Ferrari for speaking out. Back in the 80s and 90s. But there's things in their contracts where you just can't shit talk the team, and it's up to the team what they want to do. Red Bull are never going to sit down Max Verstappen because that's their best bet at prize money, at doing their sponsors right. Whereas McLaren clearly feel Lando can carry those mantles. So they wouldn't be afraid if they're this heavily invested in, we want to give Lando the championship this year. They would not be afraid with 5 races to go, constructors wrapped up, a decent enough gap to Max to be like, if you speak out too much, like we are going to have to suspend you.
Yeah.
And then they got everything they have ever wanted.
Well, and they ultimately are the high power, right? They can really, and we've seen it, they can manufacture the result that they want by resorting to certain tactics.
Yep.
So Oscar just has to be clean, precise, and
that's the thing. It doesn't matter because he can do all that. He can say, no, I'm not doing your team orders. Well, don't worry. You've got a pit stop to come, brother. We'll organise it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing. And it just feels too convenient how many times this season. And, Crofty said, McLaren's pit stops 3 rounds in a row. Lando suffered the last 2, and now it's Oscar's turn. It's like, hang on. Last round, it was like 1.5 seconds slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it lost him a position or 2, but it's his dumb fault he couldn't then pass cars. It was in reason with him. The week before that at Monza, it didn't matter. They fucked his pit stop a doozy, and they made him switch spots back. So that didn't literally matter.
Zeroed out.
This race, you had the bullshit at the start, then you had the bad pit stop, which then put him way out of contention. We saw he drove 8 seconds back through the field. That's pace.
Yeah.
And we saw, again, at the end of the first stint, closing in. Clearly, he was looking after his tyres better to have more at the end of these stints, and he just wasn't able to use it because, again, they just took him out of it. So you're right.
So are we going to award him the nerf?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Sweaty try-hard of the weekend.
Yeah. So I've gone Max Verstappen for his defense.
Me too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So once again, outperforms the McLarens. So that's 3 weeks in a row, as I mentioned before.
And it was probably, arguably, not quicker.
No, it was all on his defense this time, rather than
he was probably similar or just a fraction slower.
Yeah.
And he was able to hold him off.
He's got a reputation, doesn't he, that like there was part of me that was hoping Lando was going to put a legit move on him to just see how it was going to go out. How it was going to.
Max clearly wasn't in the mood to give it up.
No, and I don't know if you remember after qualifying when Lando created dirty air, Max said, "I'll remember this." So there was a part of me that was like, he's not going to make this easy for Lando at all. And I think Lando knew that if he was going to really send it and try something, it was probably going to end badly for him.
Yeah.
And that is Max's reputation.
Yeah.
It literally was preceding him on track there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he only had one real crack at him.
Yeah.
But
and it was half a crack.
it was half a crack. Yeah. But like straight away, Max is like, I'm defending this.
Yeah.
Like he was straight away not going to give it up.
And George said it himself. Lando was the fastest man allegedly on track, or the McLarens were the fastest cars on track. But
George was.
But Lando couldn't get past somewhat limping Verstappen with his downshift issues.
Oh, he had lots to complain about.
Old as fuck tyres.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He had every chance, or he had every reason to be able to pass him, and he just couldn't get it done. He had plenty of DRS, he had plenty of lap traffic to help keep him compressed, and he just couldn't get it done.
I reckon Max has won more sweaty try-hard achievements from us than any other driver and achievement combination.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Just real quick, he scored 273 of Red Bull's 290 points. It's just imagine where they could be if they just had somewhat of a.
I don't know if you can blame the drivers at this point, but if they had a clone,
yeah,
they'd be doing a lot better.
It just does. It's not a good look for them, is it?
No, they got to sort something out.
You're trash, bro. So as I mentioned before, I awarded this to Liam Lawson for reasons we've already.
Well, I mean, so
outlined.
I've got Lando here because we haven't, as much as we've spoken about it, we haven't awarded him anything for this, and this is where I put him.
Okay.
For those moves, I've discussed everything. I've said everything I want to say at the start.
Yeah.
With why I think that move wasn't on.
All right. So fair enough. And like again, we've already awarded noob to Liam Lawson. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if if we're awarding the Your Trash Bro to Norris, I have one question for you. Okay. If the roles were reversed and Piastri made that move and had the incident,
exactly the same. Yeah.
Where would you stand? What would your thought process be on it?
I'd be stoked that for once they're favouring Oscar. That's honestly where I'd be. Again, I'd be like
assuming
clumsy.
they don't make them swap positions.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Assuming they don't make them swap positions, I'd be like, wow, this was a big baller move. And I'd be disappointed, like I said in Austria. I said then, super disappointed to see him make such a clumsy attempt. He didn't hit him. So yeah, I'd be like, this is not like Oscar to make such a dumb mistake. Crash into the back of Max, crash into the side of another car. Dumb move.
Yeah.
But I'd be naturally stoked he got it done. And I'd be stoked to see, for probably the first time this season, McLaren allowing Oscar some benefit from Papaya Rules.
Yeah.
That's where I'd stand. I'd still look down on the move as clumsy.
Yeah. Because
that's what it literally is. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Doing that kind of a thing. And it's out of his... He just wouldn't do it. He didn't do it, right? He didn't crash into him in Canada.
Yeah.
He didn't... He's
but
never
is that
laid...
him playing by the Papaya rule book, and now he's like, okay, so there is no rule book, and now we're going to see him...
Well, so this is the difference. You can either be a Lawson and choose to crash into cars, or a Norris who's crashed into a couple of cars.
Yeah.
Or you can be an Oscar and race fair and don't crash into people.
Well, he holds the third record of most consistent points scored and most consistent Grand Prix finished. So,
I just don't
shows his racecraft, doesn't it?
Do it, He didn't crash into Max at turn 1. He gave Oscar, then he came across and gave Lando plenty of space at turn 1. He gave Lando plenty of space at turn 3, which Lando used and then some.
Yeah.
So, you asked that question, and I just don't think he'd ever do something like that.
Yep.
He's never done it. I've never seen him do what Lando did in his 3 years in the sport.
Yeah. All right. Lando gets your trash bro achievement.
Yeah.
Great. not Hulkenberg or Stroll. Or all right. Hard luck. So who do you think is the driver that suffered the most?
So I've given it to Oscar.
Yeah.
Who have you got?
I've got Carlos Sainz here.
Okay.
So
why's that?
As I mentioned before, I had him in a different category.
Yeah.
The car looked like it had good pace. Now, whether it was because they had an illegal rear wing or whatever,
it does make a difference.
I think he came off a great weekend. He said it was his best weekend ever.
Yeah.
It was his favorite podium ever. And it looked like he was carrying a lot of that momentum in Singapore. Through practices, through quality, he looked good.
Mm-hmm.
That car looked like it had pace. I don't think he would have been able to challenge for a podium here. I mean, it looked pretty clear.
He was qualified 13th or something before the DQ.
12th, yeah.
So straight away, you're putting yourself in a fair shot for that sort of 7th, 8th place.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, he made his way through the field from 20th to 10th to still score a point.
Yeah.
So, and whether it's strategy, whether he would have played that same strategy being starting in 12th. Who knows?
Yep.
But I think there were points missed by him this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
And suddenly, very quickly, he does look like the more comfortable out of the two Williams drivers. So
recency bias, but
recency bias for sure. But you're in as good as your last race, right?
Yeah,
and you know that was. I think he's just bad luck. Bad luck on his part. Bad luck that once again something outside of his control had a negative effect on his weekend.
Yeah,
and that's kind of been the story of his season.
Like in this day and age, with how close the cars are and how tight the rules are, like that would have made a difference. That it was 85. The 85 mil is the maximum. So I don't know where they were. It could have been 86, and they get pinned for that. Yeah. So that's the thing. They could have flattened it right out. It could have been just their bars off a little bit, and they just got the measurement wrong. Who knows? But it makes a difference. Either way.
Like, all right, boys, calm down. We gave you a podium last week. Just calm the fuck down now. All right.
Did you forget the script? You're not meant. You're going outside the script here.
Yeah.
Settle down. Yes, well, I'll go over to Oscar more for just being participating in McLaren's antics. Being a McLaren racing driver is pretty much the bad luck there.
All right, well, we'll give it to Sainz this week because we've already given Oscar.
Oh, yeah, I'm sick of talking about McLaren, so...
Yeah, we've already given him an award, so... AFK.
Mark Webber. Where is he?
Where is he? He was there.
Yeah, he was there. Why is he not being vocal? I swear, last year...
That's not how he does things.
But he was vocal last year. Last year, with the couple of things that were happening, it was like, okay, they literally got to the point where it's, okay, we'll do this for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But that's it. That was what they said. Mark was involved. Where is he now? Like, why is he not... Why are we not hearing from him? Why is he not... Like, use the media, man. Like... You are allowing him to slip into the same issues that he had in his career, which is the whole point of him running this guy was learn from my mistakes, know when to say no, know when things aren't fair or right. Because it's more than just you both have the same spec front wing, you both have the same upgrades, or at least have the choice, because they differed for a little while. It's more than just that. That's a level of fair, and then there's the racing and the Papaya rules and what they're allowed to do. That's fairness and what is... allowed to happen. He needs to be the voice, because let's not forget Oscar's 24.
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget that.
Yeah.
He's 24, trying to drive his car and understand the rules that are laid out and being forced to think back to races 18 months ago and why that means this has to happen this race and I don't even know how, and it's probably why he dropped back so far, is because you have to be seething after that, and then he composed himself and you saw his pace come back. Like, Mark needs to step in before things get worse and continue on this track.
Do we need to take a break?
No.
Yeah, look, I agree. So, it's interesting that you brought that up. I did not expect Mark Webber's name to come up in this conversation, but I'm happy to roll with it for two reasons. Okay, so the first one I'll say is Piastri, you can't blame him for not being vocal in the media. He's playing it very smart.
That's what I'm saying, Mark.
So Mark should. Yeah, why can't Mark step up and
use the media against McLaren? Yeah. Push the narrative that needs to be pushed here.
Exactly.
We can't do all the heavy lifting.
And you're right. He should be... We still have heartbreak when we think about that Webber season and how he lost it. I think if you're a Formula 1 driver, like... You're one of 20 drivers right now that are in this sport. It is near impossible to get into the sport, let alone win a Grand Prix, let alone win a world championship.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not lost on Mark Webber. I'm sure it's not lost on Oscar Piastri, but you are in a prime position to do something that is extremely difficult for any human being on this planet to achieve.
Yep. An incredibly rare feat.
Yeah. Legitimately.
Yeah.
It should not be taken lightly. You should be taking any opportunity you can. You should be... Play the game. If you have to play the game, play the game.
Yeah.
Don't let the same thing that happened to Mark happen to Oscar.
Yep.
100%. And it's so funny that you brought it up because just out of a whim, I went onto Mark Webber's Instagram page and he hasn't posted since July. He's not very active on there. So I went into his latest post and there's a lot of recent comments from fans and they're all basically saying the same thing.
Step up.
Yeah, step up. Like, we remember the heartbreak you went through. Don't let Oscar suffer this same heartbreak.
Yep.
Someone on there compared they basically said, like, Mark, are you going to let Oscar become a Michael Schumacher, or are you going to let him fall down and be a Barrichello? Because right now, he's looking very
He's not looking Barrichello-y, but he's looking Mark Webber-y.
No, but that was where he was, you know, that was his whole point. And I thought, it's interesting that people, like, you know, again, social media puts another level of pressure on the drivers. But
this is what he needs to use, because I've got no doubt he's having discussions in the background, but it's netted to nothing. This is 6th, 7th, 8th time now that...
No, we mentioned before, not once has it benefited gone
that
Oscar's
this has
way.
happened this season.
Always gone Lando's way.
Exactly. It's taken points away from Oscar. My fear is they're looking to have the same attitude as you, is after every race, like, oh, well, you got away with that one, only 3 points.
Yeah.
Only 4 points, only 3 points. But
well, the only reason I kind of have that stance is because we both put Norris down for a win. We both saw this as more of a Norris track than an Oscar track.
Yeah.
I was very surprised to see that Oscar out-qualified Norris. I did not expect that. So I do still feel as though Oscar went into Singapore at a track that Norris probably was predicted to be better and stronger at than him, and came away with a loss of 3 points.
Yeah.
If Norris had won like we predicted and Oscar at second, it would have been a more of a point loss.
Yeah.
And we probably would have been like, well, he was still second and he probably still did the best that he could.
Yeah. That's all right pre-race. But the way qualifying went, there was a good chance he was going to get 3 to 5 points back in the bank.
Yeah.
He was a good hot chance of leaving this race at 28 points positive, 29 points positive. Not now down to 22 points based off qualifying. And we know this season has been about qualifying. But then you get punted out of the way, and this is what it is instead. I'm just saying, Mark just needs to... He needs to do something. He really does. He needs to do some managing.
My AFK goes to the safety car. So it was the second straight year without a safety car.
It's all in the speed run, as we heard.
And the first ever Grand Prix without a retirement.
Yep, at Singapore.
Yep. So, what the fuck,
it's like you're just breaking down the speed run.
Maybe I am. Maybe I copied your notes. So who do you want to give it to?
I want to give it to Mark Webber.
All right, fun.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I really do.
I'm happy to, because I do agree with you.
A literal AFK.
Yeah.
But just as Max probably has the most sweaty tryhards, I think the safety car's got the most AFKs this season.
If we're legit, it's been a doozy.
Dry. Yeah.
But Mylander, like,
oh man,
he
doesn't get, if he gets paid by a mile.
Yeah.
He must be selling his assets.
He's on Centrelink.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think then the safety car is just highlighting just modern F1 and just like how uneventful racing has really been this year. Once again, like a race where it rained an hour beforehand. There's no margin for error, yet somehow nobody binned it.
Yep.
On a grid where there's a quarter of rookies as well. Like, incredible.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm happy to concede and give it to Mark Webber just to highlight the fact that he should get loud, get vocal, get behind,
imagine if he's getting into the media, letting out a couple of little secrets here and there,
like
and background.
Dude, get a little Jos Verstappen about you.
Put some pressure on the team to right the ship before it's too late. And the media is one hell of a way to do that.
All right, last two categories.
Yep.
So the Easter egg category. So this is
have you switched them again, have you?
No, Easter egg is second last. Side quest is last. So Easter egg is the stat.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So my stat goes to McLaren this week. Equals Red Bull. They equal Red Bull's 2023 record of winning the WCC with 6 races remaining
in the speedrun. Yep, very good.
Okay. It was also back-to-back last time since the last time they did that.
Since 88, 89. Yep. In the speedrun.
Up to 91. Yeah.
That's 4 in a row.
But yeah, anyway, that's my Easter egg award.
Yeah. So mine was the whole Oscar not celebrating with McLaren was my biggest Easter egg I found from the weekend.
Is that a stat or a fact, is it? I guess it's a fact.
It's something outside the racing. That was what the category was.
Yeah.
Because then side quest was news, right?
Yeah. Easter egg is usually stat or fact, and side quest is news outside of the week, the race week. So
whatever. People signed off by now.
What's your side quest then? And thanks for your vote of faith in our watches.
Yep. Ringing every team. Former Red Bull boss Christian Horner trying to be back into F1. Aston Martin team principal says.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've also heard that he's even considering being the 12th team on the grid and getting funding for another one.
Well, I read sort of brief the story a little bit, and so he'd rung Aston, and they'd said we have no. I don't know what they said to him, but their stance was we don't really have a spot for him, don't need him. And Haas had come on and said he rung us, but again, we're not seeing him, taking up a position in our team.
Well,
The problem is he's too big of. Well, he's too big of a character.
Yeah.
Like you're not hiring Christian Horner. He needs the Ferrari seat. That's a hot seat. He needs to wait for that to come up because he'd suit in there. That's the character. That's the role he plays.
He ain't moving to Italy though.
No, maybe not. But like you said, it's the baggage that is probably the secondary
It's the
issue.
Horner stink.
Yeah. So he needs to be a top dog. That's simple.
Maybe he needs to sit out at F1 like like Flavio. Like have a timeout.
Yeah.
And then you can creep back in.
Just get banned. Get banned from Formula One for a little while.
We never banned someone.
Yeah. That's what he should have done. He should have leaked his own sex to the right sex tapes or whatever to the right people to get banned.
Yeah.
And then in 15 years, it'd be good to go.
Yeah.
I don't see him making a 12th team. I mean, they shut down teams for this 11th team for so long.
Well, apparently F1 the FIA have said 12 teams where we can cater to. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be something that would see, obviously, next season or the season after. That would be a long-term goal.
I mean, he's got trust, at least, from the FIA. Like, they want 24 cars or whatever, but they want them to be competitive.
It's interesting.
They don't want, like they had 8, 10, 12 years ago with Caterham, HRT, Marussia, where they're teams halfway through going into administration. They don't want to see that.
Yeah.
They want teams that can come in and at least be somewhat competitive,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that like a team like Haas, who has had very little to no success, would turn him away.
Yeah.
Someone who knows what it takes to win. Like, forget about all the baggage and all the other bullshit for a second. Let's just talk about him as a team principal and what he's achieved. How could any team not realistically be like, we could really use this guy?
Yeah.
Like, yes, he comes with like, yes, how many sports stars out there, pick any sport, someone who's done something stupid or fucked up or whatever, but they're such an exceptional talent.
Doesn't matter.
That they overlook it because they're like, that guy can win.
What mentality would he come in with?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I think that's the thing.
The thing is, he knows what it takes to win, right? He knows what you need to do to put yourself in a position to win.
Yeah.
And a team like Haas, who can't figure it out and hasn't put it together, how could they turn their nose at someone like Horner and be like, we're good?
They wouldn't align. That's why. Christian Horner... don't forget, Red Bull is a energy drink company. It's not a sponsor. The energy drink company own the team. They've spent all they could possibly spend when they could spend maximum. No, nothing spared. Everything. Just go flat out. Haas are not interested in designing an engine.
Yeah.
They're not in designing a chassis. Everything they get is from other teams to just put their shit together because that's the money they want to spend. That's the commitment level they have.
I guess the other thing
Christian would come in and be like, well, this ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Straight away, we need to open up. We need to have this whole R&D factory. We need to have our own parts department, make our own shit here, shit there, everything we can make. He'd come in and be like, we need to spend 4 times what you're spending.
Yeah, but I don't see how that's a bad thing because
Haas don't want to spend that.
Yeah, but he wants to buy in on a team and he wants to be a part owner. So he takes on just as much as that responsibility, right? And then he's just as in charge of getting funding and bringing new sponsors and new investors into a team.
Yeah.
So if you're in a sport and if you wanted to have any kind of success or taste of success, right? And someone like that can take you to that next level. Why would you not, at least consider it? Why would you go, he's done and dusted that,
unless he's not offering his pocket. Unless he's just offering his name.
Yeah. I reckon it seems like he's going to land somewhere like Alpine. And Flavio, someone who's controversial himself, certainly wouldn't be like, well, man, you're even too much for me.
Yeah,
like
they'd clash. So that's what I mean. Where's he going to land? That makes sense. He can't go to Red Bull, can't go to Ferrari. Probably can't go to Haas. Definitely can't go to Alpine, especially while old mate's there. Like, you only got 6 teams left. Ferrari.
Apparently him and Flavio are friends. So
yeah, but again,
and Flavio likes money.
Flavio's a huge character. Yeah, but they're too big together. They're too. You can't have 2 characters of that size in the same spot who's going to do what, who's going to do where. They're going to.
You had Helmut Marko, and you had
an advisor, a driver advisor, a young talent advisor, and an engineer.
Yeah,
you want the biggest you can get in those roles. Christian does the same role as Flavio.
Well, it'd be interesting.
The
to
only
see
thing I reckon it makes sense for him to end up in Ferrari. To be honest,
my side quest is couldn't really find a story interesting enough to bring up that wasn't really overdone. So I've sort of pivoted and gone with a question for you. Should F1 ban...
So you had to go with me for my Easter egg not being a stat, but you've just gone way off side quest.
Well, not really, but Easter egg is a stat. So.
Well, side quest is meant to be a news article.
Should F1 ban team radio?
Yes.
Any reason why?
Because it was better when they had it. It was better when they had it banned.
Yeah.
They couldn't... This whole Papaya Rules would not exist, as an example. Simple team orders would not exist.
Yeah.
Like, we just have to see racing on track. And I think that would go perfectly in line with these next regulations where racing should happen, DRS is banned, everything has to happen ergonomically. Delete the radio, delete,
stop manufacturing results.
Exactly. Like, look at any sport. Manufacturing results, fixing games, simply outlawed, and heavy fines can come with it, come with it. Like, and bans for life from whatever league.
You can't... No one can convince me that Formula 1 is a team sport because you can spin it any way you want. I ain't calling it a team sport. Only one driver can win a race and only one driver can win a championship. Nobody cares for constructors.
Yeah.
That's just the sport for the rich.
Yeah.
You know, people are attached to drivers.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the thing is, Oscar Piastri, he has his own sponsors and people that he's representing. So does Lando Norris, so does every driver out there. So although McLaren, if they fix a race win or a race podium and who gets to stand on the podium and gets all the media attention and the questions asked, and McLaren are happy either way. But Oscar's then been, and his sponsors and people who are paying him and want their name front and center, they're missing out on that.
Yeah. And
it's all because of McLaren deciding these things that they just decide within themselves. And there's lots of other people who get affected by it, let alone people who, we put $5 on that shit. So if that didn't happen and he got the podium, here we are $2.50 richer.
Yeah.
And that's the implications of them fixing these results. You simply ban team orders, you simply ban or restrict what the teams can say to the drivers. Like it was in a much better time in Formula 1 that we would just simply wouldn't see this stuff happening. We wouldn't have these conversations. Oscar would be out to a 50-point lead.
Yeah.
Everyone would be happy.
I agree. Team radio should absolutely, team orders, I should say, should absolutely be prohibited.
Yeah.
And that they should seriously, if you want to change the sport for the better, then ensure that the racing's done on track, not in the pit wall. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's it for the categories. So,
thank God.
I know. It's funny how a race that really has very little happen can have so much to talk about. And maybe that's what Formula 1 wants.
Yeah.
Sunday sesh.
All right, so I'll ask you a question, something that happened on this day. If you get it right, you're a Formula 1 purist. If you get it wrong, you're a, what's a Netflix show? Drive to Survive fanboy.
Don't pretend like you forgot.
I did forget, just momentarily. Right, so I've got a hard one for you because you're pissing me off. Happy birthday to which American driver?
See, I told you I was worried about coming in today, like after what McLaren did to Oscar. I knew you were going to be all pissy.
Yeah. Happy birthday to which American driver? Got some hints. So you're not all alone. All right.
And they were in Formula 1.
They were in Formula 1.
In modern times?
In your lifetime.
Great.
In your lifetime.
Yeah.
He is the son of a 12-time race winner in Formula 1.
Gives me nothing.
Well, he's American.
But great.
He's American. I've given you he's American, and he's a son of a Formula 1 driver. Successful one. Carries a world-famous last name. And this is just a great stat. Aside from Logan Sargent, who scored 1 point due to 2 disqualifications ahead of him, this driver is the most recent American to score points in F1. Which I just thought was great. So your big ticket items, he's American. I mean, come on, that dwindles it down to 52 drivers. Carries a world-famous last name.
Yeah.
That's your biggest giveaway. And he's the son of a 12-time race winner in Formula 1.
And I
do have 3. I've really fucking dumped it down. I've got multiple choice answers for you.
Well, so if I'm allowed to stab in the dark, the name that this obviously comes out at me straight away is Andretti, because I know there's father-son thing there. I know that he was in Formula One during my lifetime.
Which
was
one?
he in the 90s?
Who?
Hey, are we talking about the son or are we talking about the dad?
Son. It's the son. Yeah, the son's the driver with the birthday.
Yeah,
today,
okay.
on this day.
So that's where I'm leaning.
Yep.
So give me the...
Do you know his name?
The son's name?
Yeah.
I don't think I do. Unless they do what, like a lot of...
It's not a junior.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll give you 3 answers. Dan Gurney, Michael Andretti, or Scott Speed.
So Dan Gurney.
Dan Gurney, Michael Andretti, and Scott Speed.
And it was the dad's birthday.
The son's birthday.
The son's birthday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Son's birthday.
I feel like I saw something about Gurney this week, but I don't know. I would have thought it would have been about the dad, not the son. So that throws me off.
For sure.
Scott Speed, I don't really know who that is, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I've narrowed it down to 50-50, but I really don't know which way to go. I feel like I would have seen something about Andretti if it was his birthday. And being that I saw something about Gurney pop up at some point, that's where I'm leaning.
I'll lock something in.
So just give me the hints again.
He's an American driver.
Yeah.
All 3 of these are American. I'm really giving you a leg up.
All three of those
drivers are American.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no trick there. He is the son of a 12-time race winner in Formula One. Carries a world-famous last name.
And this guy, the son, was the last American to score points.
On track, because Logan Sargent got a point due to 2 cars ahead of him being disqualified. So he didn't get on track.
Yeah.
So I really want to scratch that out. So,
okay.
Besides that, he's the most recent American to score points in Formula One.
I'm going to have to go Gurney.
So you're looking at it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not Dan Gurney.
Okay.
It's Michael Andretti.
So you psych me out. That's what you do.
Didn't do nothing. How did I psych you out? You were spitballing. I'm not going to give you any leg up. Oh, God.
All right.
Dan
We're cancelling this segment
Dan
too, by the way.
Gurney doesn't have a Sunday race in Formula One. The record. Michael Andretti only raced 1 season.
Well, like I said, I saw something pop up about Gurney, and I don't know what it was. It might have been something else.
That might have been what they were talking about with Williams, because the uppermost flap is normally the game flap.
Again, stupid question, because I don't give a shit about who this guy is, or the fact that it's his birthday.
Everything's a stupid question with you if it's wrong.
Well,
you watch next week, I'll go some 1952 race winner at this track and give you no answers, and you'll pull it out of your ass. That's a great question.
People would have only have guessed it was Andretti because that's probably the only name that they have heard of. You know, and I probably shouldn't have second guessed myself.
Mm-hmm. You can be sad all you want about these questions I give you, but they're top quality.
But no one gives a fuck about what is it? What was his name? What's his
Michael Andretti.
Michael Andretti's birthday.
But that was on this day.
All right, we're wrapping this up.
I cannot win with you.
Thanks again to the Box Bashers for watching another episode.
Yep. Episode 32.
32. Yep. Like and subscribe. Goes a long way.
Yep. Subscribers are coming up as well.
Yep.
So thanks to everyone who's subscribed.
Yep, goes a long way. Till next week, GG's.
All right. I guess I'll see you here.
Sounds good.
Fucking asshole.